Okay, today you're going to be getting the amount of silver and copper that you need for your sterling silver alloy. It's really important that as you get ready to come up here, you've all passed a quiz that demonstrated to me that you can calculate the correct amount. So you should have all had the measurements. What I want you to do is independently use your measurements from your flask to calculate how much copper and how much silver you're going to need. Then and only then come together and compare what you have. Then you're going to be able to say, yes, we independently have verified this is the right amount. At that time, you're going to come up to me then and say, hey, Mr. Wellman, one person, whoever's running lead on your metal cutting. It does not have to be the leader for the flask. You can designate, hey, I'm running lead on the calculations. Probably better if it's someone different. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, well, hey, we need 70 grams or whatever of silver. We verified our calculations. Yep, you've done that. And this is on the honor system. You're part of the scientific community. We have to be able to trust that when you have verified, you did do the calculation piece. So what we'll do is be sure we're going to take the mass. We're going to make sure we always are using a weighing boat or something so that metals, nothing ever touches the balance pan. That should always stay 100% clean. When you first turn it on, it's going to have that quick calibration loop. When it goes to 0, 0, 0, you know you're started. I put my weighing boat on. I'm going to tear it or zero it back out, so we're good to go. Now, one of the silver coins is what we're going to use. This silver that I purchased is 99.99% pure. This just happens to be how they sell precious metals. This is sometimes if your grandparents or parents on a special occasion might say, hey, we have a piece of silver that you can have and keep with it. This is not currency, but what it is, it's just 1 ounce of pure silver. So that's the way we buy it, and you're going to be cutting it up, so don't pay any attention. There happens to be, you know, a buffalo and stuff on it. The buffalo will feel no pain in the cutting of the coin. So when I put it on here, each coin has approximately 31 grams. So based upon your thing, just keep that in the back of your mind, 31 grams. So we said originally I had like 72. How many coins are you going to need for that one? What'll 2 get you up to? 62 approximately grams. You're going to need some extra. Now what will happen, I'll ask you is, hey, we've got this container of some extra pieces. So you might, if you're close to it, it'll be like, hey, let's go ahead and just use some of the extra pieces. If there doesn't seem to be any extra pieces, then you'll have to ask for a third one. But at the third one, we always cut whatever's left. Please put it back in for the next group. We try to use the small pieces. Now, the challenge with the silver is when you go to cut it in these coins, it doesn't cut really easy. So you're going to have to use a bolt cutter. And when you put the bolt cutter on, it won't necessarily cut just the first time. The first time it'll kind of crimp in, and you'll get it started. And it will take a few cuts to be able to do it. So when you do it, you'll kind of try to cut it this way. And then it'll take, again, like I said, a couple cuts. A couple of these bolt cutters are better than others, so you'll kind of find out which ones it works. And you see, when it starts to go here, it's going to be very sharp, so be careful of those points. Again, it'll take a couple of times to be able to get it to go through. And once you get a little bit closer, it does help to have 2 people working this because it's just an awkward thing to go. Once you crimp it in, you usually can get it going. So as you work this, you're going to get it cut down into these different pieces. So for instance, you say, but Mr. Wellman, we're going to use more than 1 coin. You need to cut the pieces down into about sizes about like this, about this size. You can see how that is, because we want to have small enough pieces that when we're going into the crucible for heating it up, it'll take a lot longer to do a full coin. So you're going to have this one in your copper. It will also mix better when we're alloying it. So even though you have a full coin, you need to be chopping it down. That also goes for your copper. When your copper, here's going to use our source of copper, but those are a lot easier because it's so much softer. You can just do the simple wire cutters. You don't need to cut it down into minuscule pieces. You just have to have it down to small enough pieces so that you can lay them on top of each other in the crucible. You don't really want itty bitty pieces because when you put it into your bag, you have to make sure that all of those bags make it into the crucible. Okay? So what I'm going to have you do then is you're going to get the starting coins from me, and when you're done, you should have everyone's flask, again, the leader's name, the leader initial, your hour, then put everyone's name on it, and how many grams of your silver, and then another one for your copper, and then staple them together. I have a big bag that we'll put all of that metal into, and I'll save that. So on your casting day, we'll pull that back out, and you have to make sure you get your bags and that's what goes into your crucible. What questions can I answer for you about cutting up your silver and your copper? So the heads up, what's going to happen is, remember we have 6 flasks that we're going to be investing today. If you're flask number 1 or 2 or 3, you're going to be focused getting ready. But if you happen to be flask 4, 5, or 6, that will be okay for you to go ahead and maybe cut your metal first. The only thing is for instance, number 4, as soon as number 1 is done, you have equipment to get ready to start getting ready for your particular time. So don't lose track of time. Get this done quickly, and then you can go back to that. But some of you, most groups will have to do a calculation, independent calculation first to verify. Okay?